Greetings Darklings, this video will be useful for those who just started playing Civ and don't understand how the game works. You should always start every single game with settings. I highly recommend you to enable quick combat and quick movement. And it is crucial to disable auto and turn. I also recommend you to have only one turn between autosaves, and you should have unlimited number of autosaves to keep. Now we're moving to Interface tab. Start in Strategic View will boost your download speed. It is good option to have your production queue always opened. Auto unit cycling is cancer of this game, you should disable it immediately. And you should turn off show wheels and hurt ribbon option. It is extremely useful to move your next action to a queue key. And of course next and previous city to your 4th and 5th mouse button. It is not necessary, but using tilde as empire list is quite cool. This alert ability on the units, you might never use it, but just set it on the GK. And the most important thing here is a great people screen on a ZK, so you can check them rapidly. X and C for science and culture tree, V for government screen. The rest K are not that important, but you can check it. Now we're moving to a more important thing, the gameplay. So basically Civ game is about the city development and population in it. Population is super useful and super cool, but you don't have to own a 40 pop city every single game, and I will explain why. So first, every single unit is eating. The consumption is 2 food per pop. To generate more pops, you need to accumulate a certain amount of food. For a second citizen it's 7, for a third it's 12, 16 for the fourth one, and so on. But the food consumption is smallest problem for the population growth. Your cities must have enough housing and amenities. If there's not enough housing, you'll get penalty growth. The things with amenities are a bit trickier. If you have negative amount of amenities, you get penalties. If you have excessive amenities, you get bonuses. For example, right now I'm having more than +5 amenities and my bonus growth is 20%. So in conclusion, you're both producing food and they consume some of it. Rest of it is buffed or debuffed, so in the end you'll get modified food per turn, which might be affected by housing and loyalty multipliers. So in the end of the chain you'll get total food surplus, which affect your city's growth. But citizens are good not only for consuming and breeding. Each citizen generates zero point 0.5 science and zero point 0.2 culture just by existing. It can work on a city tiles or in buildings as a specialist. Each specialist produces certain resource. For example, working in campus buildings, it can produce 4 science. Working on a city tiles, it can produce different yields. For example, working on mine, it produces 2 food and 5 production right now. Total amount yields produced by citizens can be found on the city panel. Here you can find food, production, science and culture, and of course face and gold. Each of it important in its own way, but all of them can be presented as a universal resource. It's universal value ratio, where 1 food equals 1 production, equals 1 science, equals 1 culture, equals 2 faith, equals 4 gold. That means total amount of value produced by a single tribe or a city at all can be measured in a one universal unit. So Langxi produced 692.5 universal resources, UNIRES. Now it's time to talk more detail about how amenities works. So each 2 pops after the first one consume extra amenities. That means that every 3rd, 5th, 9th and so on pop will cost you extra amenity. With excessive amenities you get bonuses, with insufficient amenities you get penalties. Somehow we have food and non-food bonuses, but that is not really important. The key thing here is to have positive amenities in every city. And now the part which related with the population growth. If you grow extra 2 pops and lost amenity bonus, is it really worth it? So if I had 5 amenities and grow extra 2 pops, which produce 7 UNIRES each. Let's not forget about extra food consumption. I could have expect more than 700 UNIRES produced in total. But because I'm shifting on a different amenity level bonus, in reality I'm losing 71 UNIRES. So in the late game, it is crucial for you to have positive amenities. You can find your amenity status on a city panel or extended information about it on a city details panel. There is various ways of getting amenities, but only few to lose it. Despite population growth, its war awareness and bankruptcy. When you have 0 gold and negative gold income, you'll get bankruptcy. You should avoid it in all costs because it's almost impossible to get out of it. War awareness generates negative amenities while you're at war. Each military action generates war awareness points, which converted in negative amenities. Fighting on your territory generates less war awareness points than fighting on enemies on neutral territories. Now we'll talk about where you can get amenities. The easiest way is collect luxury resources. Depending on map size, you'll get different amount of continents. Each continent can have 4 different type of luxury resources. You can find salt, incense, coffee, and sugar on Kalahari. Each lux grants one amenities to 4 different cities. Certain lux can affect your empire only once. That means that if you have few copies of the same luxury resource, you should trade it. Up next is amenities from civics. You can use various policy cards that just give you extra amenities, or they will interact with other gameplay mechanics to boost your amenities. One way or another, you have to spend your policy card slot to boost amenities. Most popular policy cards are Retainers, Liberalism, New Deal, and Republican Legacy. We'll talk about Republican Legacy later. Another good source of amenities in a late game is amenities from entertainment. Some wonders, such as Coliseum, might generate amenities of that type, but general source of it are entertainment complex and water park. In a late game, you are able to build zoo and aquarium which have area of effect. That means with a single building you can affect multiple cities. In a deep late game, you can build stadium which has similar effect. Some great people can grant you extra amenity, but it works only for one city. Some city-states can affect your amenities in a different ways. For example, Zanzibar grants you additional luxury resources, and Buenos Aires just boosts your bonus resources. Some religions' beliefs might grant you extra amenities, for example, Zen meditation or stupa. National parks are extremely good source of amenities. You can create it with naturalists. To create it, you must follow these rules, but in general, your city must have 4 tiles of charming appeal or higher. And at last, we discuss amenities from the governments and governors. Classical Republic and Digital Democracy grants you extra amenities for cities. Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 governments can have their own legacy policy card. If you construct a civic building in a government plaza while paying in one of these governments, you can receive its legacy policy card. So if you construct Tier 1 government plaza building while you are in Classical Republic, you will get Republican Legacy Policy Card, which grants you extra amenities and extra housing for cities with the districts. Among those Tier 1 Government Plaza buildings, you can find Audience Chamber. This building grants you extra amenities for the cities with the governor. It's one of the early game source of amenities. And in the end of our city mechanics review, we'll talk about housing. One of the easiest and trickiest way to get housing is from buildings. I assure you it's not a popular way of getting housing. And the most hated building here is granary. No one builds it, it's too expensive for an early game, but it's still good if you're in desperate need of housing. Sewer are only good in better balanced game mode where you can get extra amenities from it. Stables, barracks, and military academies grants you extra housing, but that's not really popular district. So in most cases you'll get that housing, but later in the game. And the last one housing bringer is university. These old buildings are quite cool, but they bring not enough housing for you. Gurdwaras and holy site buildings can give you extra housing with a feed the world belief. Getting housing from civics is another unpopular way to get them, because you don't really want to waste your policy card slot for this type of thing. Once again, I have to inform you that Classical Republic and Republican Legacy is amazing policy card and you should use it because it gives housing and amenities. Insula is never used, same as Medina Quarter. And because you never build walls, you will never use monarchy housing bonuses as well. Okay, now let's talk about something that's actually useful. And first of all, it's Big Boy Almighty Aqueduct. Super cool district, it can supply you with the fresh water even if you have none. And it also buffs industrial zone, but we'll talk about this later. Dam can be useful, but in most cases it's end up being blown up by the spy. Preserve, this custom district can work rarely with a specific civ, and the biggest problems with it takes your districts to lot because it's a specialty district. You can also get some housing from early game wonders, maybe from some late game wonders. I don't remember actually any late game wonder that gives you housing, but still, maybe there is one. And of course, with the better balanced game mode, Land Governor can grant you extra housing for every specialty district built in your city. And I have to mention that she has parks, but nobody playing it. Up next, housing from improvement. This is the best way of getting housing. You can not only get improved tiles, but also you can grow taller. Everyone likes it, everyone uses it, and even the game have its own tips on it. Check it in the left bottom corner. Housing from fresh water. If you settle your city on a fresh water source, you get +5 extra housing. Your capital city got additional housing because of the palace. You can settle coastal, but it will give you only 3 housing. If you settle non-fresh, you get only 2 of it. And finally, housing from the great people. Some great people can grant you extra housing, but in most cases it will work only for a single city. If you have not enough housing, you will suffer from a housing growth penalty. We have talked about it earlier, but once again, I'll remind you. If you have +2 excessive housing, you don't have any penalties at all. Your growth equal to 100%. If you have only +1 excessive housing, you suffer a penalty with a 50% growth, like we have now. With a 0 to -4 housing, you'll have only 25% of growth. If you have -5 or less, you won't grow at all. So we have so many troubles growing city tall. Why do we even need this? Well, it's all about the district mechanics. First things first, we have two types of districts, specialty districts and, we might guess, non-specialty districts. To construct specialty district, you need certain amount of population in a city. But to construct non-specialty district, you don't need anything, just the requirements for this district to be built. To be honest, non-specialty district is not that popular. Even the almighty aqueduct is not often to see in games. And a spaceport built only when you're trying to achieve science victory, so in most cases you won't see it either. Canals have weird requirements, you can't build them. In most cases you don't want to build neighborhood, only maybe to get Eureka's, and you don't want to build dam because it will be destroyed with a spy. City center is count as a district as well, but you don't have to do anything to build it, you just press B and you got a city center. So we're done with non-specialty districts, now it's time to deal with the specialty districts. And you might ask, why are they so special? Well, you can't just build them. You must have certain amount of population to build a specialty districts. So the numbers are, to have a one specialty district you need city with a one pop. Seems good for now, yes? To have a second one you need 4. To have a third one you need 7. To have fourth you need 10. To have 5 you need 13, and so on and so on. So to build additional district you need 3 more pops. Now we have 13 specialty districts in the game, and you, I believe, understand that you can't build all of them in a single city. Well, you might try, and I believe there is achievement to do this, but it will take you quite a long time. And I don't think that anyone will do this in a multiplayer game. It might look like not a big deal at all. We can wait till our city grows taller, but actually no, because districts are getting more expensive with time. There you go, boys, this is the formula if you ever need this, but in general, the more tax or civics you're discovering, the more expensive districts are. Which leads us to the next conclusion, that you have to build your districts as soon as possible. But how to do this? Well, we have an answer. There is two main strategies in the game, replacing districts and using district discount. With the first situation, you just replace districts when it's available, and the price for replaced district will be fixed. This means when you replace a district, you don't have to finish it immediately. You can finish your current task and build districts a bit later. Second strategy forces you to build districts immediately, but it rewards you with the discounted districts. I have a separated video specially for this strategy, so you might check it to understand it better. On practice, players are playing hybrid build of these two strategies. If it looks not that complicated, I have good news for you. You can't just place district wherever you want. You'd like to have a good adjacency bonus for it. There you go, boys. I found quite good infographic for you. You can surf internet and you'll find something similar, but what you can see that districts has major, standard and minor bonuses. Every district, even city center, gives minor bonus to its neighboring district. Governor Plaza gives standard adjacency bonus districts for every district, and there is special requirements to get major adjacency bonus. Eventually, you'll memorize all these bonuses, so I won't waste your time explaining them now. We'll better have a talk about Governor Plaza. After discovering State Workforce, you can build Governor Plaza. This is very unique district, it can be built only once. You can build it anywhere, but most players build it in capital. It used to construct government plaza buildings. Each government tier, except the last one, allows you to construct one of three buildings. Once you reach political philosophy, you can choose your government, and only after choosing your government, you can construct those buildings. So once you reach tier 1 government, you can construct audience chamber, quite good for tall empires. Your governors will hardly boost your core cities. Ancestral Hall, perfect for wide empires. Warlord's Throne is not quite popular and can be constructed only if you're planning to build massive army early in the game. And massive army is not 5 or 10 units, it's about 20 or maybe even 30 units. While reaching Tier 2 government, you can construct Foreign Ministry. Most popular Tier 2 building used to accumulate more influence points and city-state controls, and of course it generates more diplomatic favor. Foreign Ministry usually built for timing attacks, or if you want to scale your spies faster. Now I have to make explanation. Spies can grant you extra diplovision. Level 2 spies grants you 2 diplovision instead of 1. Having more diplovision than your opponent benefits you with extra military strengths. You get 3 military strength for each diplo point difference. So having level 2 spy while your enemy not grants you extra 2 diplovision above, which means that your units will have 6 extra military strengths, and that is more than a general bonus. Now we're back on track. Grandmaster Chapel built by religious chiefs. It allows you to buy units with faith. War Department is the most popular building in late game, because in the late game it's most likely you'll have to fight, and this building grants you extra 30 HP when you finish enemy units. National History Museum can help you with a cultural victory. You can place music artworks there and double the amount of tourism producing by them with the moksha promotions. Royal Society obviously used for science victory. 6 or even 7 chartered builders needed. Okay, now we can have a detailed talk about government types. We have 4 different tiers of government with 3 different government in each tier. You can discover them advancing by cultural tree. In the very beginning of the game you start with achievement having only 2 policy cards, then with a tier 1 government you can have 4 of it, with a tier 2 6, and with the tier 3 8, and with tier 4 10 policy cards. Those policy card slots have different colors for a reason. Red one is for red policy cards, obviously it's a military policy cards. Brown is economic, green diplomatic, and a purple one is universal policy card. You can place any type of policy card in there. And you might guess there is purple policy card type, which of course can be placed only in a purple policy card slot. Now brief review of each government type. Chiefdom, Tier 0 government. Only 2 policy cards, it grants you no Diplo favor and 1 influence point. We'll talk about Diplo favor and influence points later. Oligarchy. Super cool warrior government type. It's popular with the naval thieves. It gives you 4 combat strength for your spearmen and warriors, and 4 extra military strength for galleys. Its legacy is crucial for naval thieves. Now I have to explain what government legacy is. If you are construct government plaza building while you are in a certain type of government, you will lock legacy policy card for entire game. In most cases, those policy cards are super strong, so you have to be certain what government legacy you pick. Autocracy, very interesting early game government. It surely will help you to build some wonders. Classical Republic, one of the best government in the game. Everyone loves it, everyone wants to have its legacy, and as you can see, it's the most economic, profitable government type, with the 2 browns and 1 purple policy card slot. Merchant Republic, most economically profitable tier 2 government, with a decent legacy for sure. Monarchy is most likely first tier 2 government you will knock. The wall bonus is not that good, but influence points are great. Unfortunately, its legacy does not grant you any extra influence points. Theocracy, preferable government for religious chiefs. You have extra faith, you have discount for faith buy, and the legacy for this government is awesome. Communism is never again tier 3 government. Sounds good, doesn't work, and it's least popular government type in entire game. Unlike fascism, which is quite popular, especially if you have to fight someone. And once again, democracy is the best seeming government. Each tier 3 government has its own policy card that can be used only when you have that government. Third alternative grants you extra culture and gold from military academies. Can be used with a fascism government type. Collectivization boosts your internal trade route. Can be used with a communism, so never. And the best politic card in entire civilization game is a New Deal. And unfortunately, you can only use it with a democracy. Tier 4 government rarely used in multiplayer. Not only because it's hard to reach, but because you will lose your policy cards for a Tier 3 government. But I have to say a few words about it if you want to use it. So, digital democracy used for a cultural victory because you get more amenities, more culture, but you lose 3 military strengths, which is bad. Corporate libertarianism is a weird government type. I haven't seen it was used ever, and I have no idea where can I use it. Synthetic technocracy will definitely help you with a science victory, but I believe you can never reach it if you spam campuses. Okay, we've talked about governments, now let's talk about governors. There is 7 governors in a game, where actually 8 but 1 can be used only by Ottomans. Governors can be assigned in a city which significantly increase its efficiency. To hire or promote governor, you spend governor titles. You can earn them advancing with the civic tree, or you can build governor plaza buildings. Some grand merchants can grant you extra governor title, or you can find one in hut. Governor can be assigned in the city immediately. He has to spend 5 turns to do so. Victor and Ibrahim need 3. Right after the government assigned, you'll get 8 loyalty in this city. We'll talk about loyalty mechanic later. There is few meta strategies of governor usage. You can check my other guides to understand it better. Now we'll have a fast review of every single one of it. Governor Magnus really popular in the early game with the specific Magnus internal strategy. He's super cool and nice guy and most known for his chop abilities. He also good for a late game, especially if you want to have super productive city. I'm playing BBG mod, so Moksha Governor is different than in vanilla game, where he's quite boring, but here he's awesome. He grants you extra face and culture and can help you achieve cultural victory. Pingala, most popular governor in vanilla, but here he's just guy who brings you extra science. Grants is good promotion, but in most cases you don't have enough titles to use it. Tier 2 and Tier 3 promotions quite lame, even with a 30% production bonus. Lank is super cool, similar to Magnus, but instead of buffing entire empire, she buffs only single city. She used mostly to prevent floods and volcanoes, disasters, and of course she got benefits from it. You can use her to grow extremely large city like I did, so I really like her. But you can rarely see Lang opening, because other governors is just better for the tempo. Victor is superior governor, he can save your city from siege, he can give your units free promotion, and for the late game he got plus 25 defense bonus. It's of course big mistake to take him first, but in the mid and late game he's shining. Reina is extremely good gold bringer, but her usage limited by number of titles. She can't be used first from specific strategies, but in most cases she just give you extra fall for traders who passing by her city. Amani is a very tricky governor. You either spend 4 titles or non-titles for her. She's used to control city-states. Okay, now you might ask, what is city-state? It's a state with only one city. You can send some envoys to have city-state type bonus, or you can have specific city-state bonus if you are a suzerain of it. City-state type bonus grants you extra yields for buildings in a district of that type. It depends on tier level of your influence on it. Sending 1, 3 or 6 envoys will grant you tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3 influence on a city-state. Each tier affect tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3 building in a district. For example, industrial city-states grants extra production from tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 building in industrial zone. City-state suzerainty grants you its specific bonus and 1 diplo point favor point. To control a city-state, you must have majority of envoys there. You must have at least 3 envoys to become a city-state suzerain. There are 4 ways to get envoys. First, you can complete city-state quests. It grants you 1 envoy in that specific city-state. Second, you can passively earn them while you have government. Each turn you're passively generating influence points. When its number reach certain point, for democracy is 200 influence points, you'll get certain number of invites. For democracy, it's 3. The number of influence point generating can be boosted by monarchy, government type, and diplomatic quota. You can earn some invites advancing through a civic tree. And the fourth one, you can build some wonders or earn great person. And for the last one, I have to mention containment policy card and a mining governor. Okay, now we'll have a brief talk about great people. Each district and buildings in it generate some great people points. Some policy cards can generate great people points passively. Some can use great people point generation by affecting buildings. You can also launch a city project. You can launch a specific project only in a city with a district of that type. For example, to launch campus research grants, you obviously need a campus. Projects converts your production into resource of a district type. For example, for campus, while project is running, you'll get 15% production converted into science. On top of that, any project you run grants 15% production converted into gold. For encampments or commercial hubs, you'll get 15 and 15, in total 30% converted into gold. When the project is finished, you'll get great people points. Cost of the project and great people points earned depends on your advance on tech or civic tree. You can find total number of accumulated great person points and the number of great person points accumulated last turn here in the great people menu. Once you reach the certain number of points, you can take great person or pass it. Passing great person will cost you some accumulated points. After that action, it takes less points for other players to earn this person. If you have not enough points to take great person, you can gold buy it or face buy it. Gold buy person will cost you 15 gold for each point needed and extra 200 gold on top of it. That means you can't buy great person less than 200 gold. Face buy will cost you 10 face per point needed plus 150 faith on top of that. That means you can't buy great person cheaper than 150 faith. There are 3 to 5 great person of each type per era. Great persons for a futures era costs more than for a current era. Great persons for a current era are randomly shuffled in a deck. So you can be aware what 4 great persons you will earn, but you don't know which of those 4 great persons will be next. If players took all great persons, or you can't get any great person of that type, great people points for that type of great person will be converted into face. As you can see, there is no chance to get any great profits right now, and you can't establish religions. That means that all great profit points will be converted into faith. Okay, now we can talk about religion. You can win the game even without founding a religion, and you don't have to worry about that you don't have your own religion. But if you want to make it, you will need a holy site or a Stonehenge. Stonehenge will grant you free profit, with which you can establish your own religion. You can also build a holy site and get profit by accumulating certain amount of points to earn it. In most cases, it's 30 because you want to establish your religion as soon as possible if you are playing religious civ. So you can accumulate more faith and spend it with a monumentality dedication. As all buildings in the game, Holy Site has 3 tiers of building: shrine, temple, which you can find in theology, and there are various number of tier 3 building which can be available after enacting one of the beliefs. There are 4 main types of belief in a game. Founder belief only applies to the founder of that religion. Follower belief provides bonuses for any thief following this religion. Enchanter belief designed to help the spirit and defense of the religion. And worshipper belief grants a specific tier 3 worship building. You can't have 2 beliefs of the same type. I will name you few popular beliefs. Corals and Feed the World buffs your holy site buildings. Defender of the Faith help you with defense. Crusade help you with an offense. Lay ministry quite popular because all religious thieves will try to achieve cultural victory. Pilgrimage quite useful if you only want to build few holy sites. And spread your religion on nearest cities. You can spread your religion 2 ways: passively or with the help of religious units, such as apostles or missionaries. It is almost impossible to achieve religious victory for a multiplayer game, so you probably will never need the knowledge of religious combat. But to be fair, rules for religious combat is similar to the rules of regular combat. Passive spread is way better because you don't have to waste your faith on a religious unit and can spend it on civil units. Passive spread quite simple. Each of your converted city spread your religion with a +2 pressure in a 10 tiles. Holy City, the city in which religion was founded, pressure with an 8 points per turn. If you make a holy site project in a city, it will pressure surrounded city as if it holy city. Governor Moksha doubles religious pressure. That means he should govern in a holy city. To convert city, you must have majority of population converted to your religion. You can prevent conversion of your city with the help of inquisitors, but they can be used only in your own cities. Religion quite useful for some civilizations, like Khmer. You can check my guide How to Play Khmer to understand it better. As I mentioned earlier, the reason to take early religion is to follow monumentality dedication. Each time era shifts, you can choose a dedication for a next era. First time it happens turn 31 on an online speed. There are three types of ages: dark, normal and golden age. If you earn golden age after a dark age, it becomes a heroic age where you can choose 3 out of 4 dedications. It's funny, but the worst age you can get is normal. There are special policy cards for a dark age which might be quite useful, such as Twilight Veiler. If you are in a dark or a normal age, you will receive extra era score depending of your dedication. To reach Golden Age, you must earn certain amount of points. The amount of points needed calculates in the first turn of a new era, so it doesn't matter how many points you got previously. As you can see, at the beginning of era I had 195 points. To reach from dark to normal age you need to accumulate 11 points, and from normal to golden you need to accumulate 11 points more. So in total I need to accumulate standard 11 points and extra points for the number of cities and extra 20 points for each golden age I took, which is 4, and minus 5 points for each dark age I took, which is 1. In total it is 35 points, and I need 11 more points to reach golden age after I reached normal. So as you can see here, I must earn 230 points to reach normal age and 11 more to reach golden. You can learn more about era score in Civilopedia. There are more than 100 historical moments and we can't discuss it right now. But almost every action, almost every achievement you do in a game will grant you some era score. So here we have the same story as the district adjacency bonuses. You just have to memorize everything. You can also find all dedications in Civilopedia, but fear not, I will leave you some guidance for this topic. On an online speed, eras shifts every 20 to 30 turns. It depends on how fast players advance on a civic and tech tree. When the turn is come and era switch, you will have to choose dedication for next era. There is various tactics with the dedication usage. You can check my guides where I describe it more detail. But for now, I can say that the most common strategy is to take golden, dark, heroic ages. It's quite easy to do, and you'll have Twilight Vale or Policy card I mentioned earlier in the Renaissance era. For religious thieves, it can be slightly different. You can go triple monumentality, double monumentality, or monumentality and paintbrush and voice for the first and second golden ages. For a land empire, it most likely double paintbrush and voice. For naval thieves, it differs. It depends on where your enemies are. It can be double paintbrush and voice or double free inquiry, or paintbrush and voice into free inquiry, or free inquiry into paintbrush and voice. Most popular simming way is paintbrush and voice into free inquiry. Third, most likely, will be dark. You can always find what dedication you have now on Era Progress panel. You can always read about loyalty here and how it works. But here is long story short. You have a penalty for loyalty in a dark age, you have nothing in normal age, and you have bonuses for loyalty in a golden age. Loyalty pressure generated by city center. It depends on its population and of course governors. You can also use some civic policy cards to boost loyalty. Loyalty pressure decays with a distance from a city center. You're losing 10% of loyalty pressure per tile. That means on a 10th tile from your city you will have zero loyalty pressure. So settling that far might be risky for your city. You can't have more than 100 loyalty for your city. If you have negative loyalty pressure, your city will lose loyalty. Original capital city has doubled loyalty pressure. If loyalty in the city equals 0, it will revolt and become a free city. Free city is not a city-state. It won't give you any bonuses and you can't send envoys there. But it will join the empire with the biggest loyalty pressure in the region. So you might lose your or you might take other cities. without any fights at all. And of course, if city has low loyalty, it will have yields penalties. With a hard loyalty drop, your city will produce nothing. Most common way to lose city with a loyalty pressure is when you're occupying your enemy's cities, because your presence in that city will be low. You can try to use policy cards and governors, but the best way to rapidly boost loyalty in the region to occupy enemy capital. And now it's time to talk about combat and how to fight in the most efficient way possible. There is plenty of units type in the game, like recon, melee, anti-cavalry, light cavalry, heavy cavalry, range and siege. For naval units, it's naval melee, naval ranged, naval raider, and naval carrier. And of course, air fighter and air bomber as air units. And how can we play without a nuclear weapon? Yes, we have nukes, but we won't talk about them in this guide. You can click your unit on an opponent unit and the combat will happen. It is always take place on a defender tile, but in most cases it's not important. The damage you do is calculated based on the military strength difference. If you are attacking with a shooting unit, you will have no damage in return. If you attack with a tank, like we have here, you will take some damage in return. The damage formula is quite difficult, so I will try to explain it to you in a few words. So each time you attack, the game calculates the difference between your military strength and your opponent. If attacker and defender get same amount of military strength in melee combat, you both get 30 damage. If attacker has plus 10 more military strength, it deals 50% more damage, which is 45. And defender will deal 30% less damage, which is 20. If attacker has 17 more attack strength, it will deal double amount of damage, which is 60, and defender will deal only 15 damage in return. The one-shot unit 30 military strength difference, and of course you almost get no damage in return. But there is a 20% chance of high roll or low roll, which means you won't have these numbers always. And that means that you won't be able to guarantee one shot unit with a 30 military strength difference. So it is from 28 to 32 military strength difference to a one shot unit if you're having a high or a low roll. As you can see, each point difference might lead to your victory. And now we'll discuss all military bonuses that unit can have. First of all, melee units has extra bonus against anti-cavalry units. Anti-cavalry units have bonus against cavalry. Range unit has penalty against cities. Siege units and bombers has penalties against units. And with a BBG mod, siege unit has extra 10 military strength while defending against ranged attacks. So you can actually siege a city, not just donate your catapults. Defending on ideal terrain can grant you plus 3 for a heal and plus 3 for a woods, so you might have plus 6 in total if it's a woods on a hill. Defending on a floodplains on a marsh will grant you minus 2 military strength. While you attacking someone across the river, the attacker get minus 5 military strength. Flanking and support bonus can be unlocked with a military tradition. With a flanking bonus, attacker will gain 2 combat strength for each friendly unit adjacent to the target of the attack. With a support bonus, your units can support each other when one gets attacked. The defender will gain 2 combat strength for each adjacent friendly unit. Range and siege units can ignore support bonus. With a better balanced game mode, ranged and siege unit is not affected by support bonus. Each point of Diplo vision above your opponent grants your units extra 3 military strength. Great General grants your unit plus 5 military strength. Oligarchy and Oligarchy Legacy can grant your melee and anti-cav units extra 4 military strength. It also affects your melee naval unit. You can't use Oligarchy Legacy with Oligarchy. Fascism and Fascism Legacy grants your unit extra 5 military strength. Forming Corps increase your unit's military strength by 10. Forming Army increase your unit military strength by 17. Losing health will reduce military strength. You will lose 1 point for each 10 HP, so the maximum is minus 10. You will lose military strength if you have not enough strategic resources, such as oil or aluminium. And the most cancer mechanic of the game is fortification. It gives you plus 3 military strength in defense for each level. You have 2 levels of fortification. And the bad thing about this, it's broken. You can read manual and find out that you need 2 turns to get level 2 fortification bonus. But on practice, you can just get it immediately. I just used fortification on this horseman and got plus 3 military strength. I can hit fortification once again, which will increase this fortification bonus to a plus 6. So instead of waiting 2 turns, I got it immediately, and it's absolutely nonsense in an online game. And if you read manual closely, you will find out that light and heavy cavalry can't have a fortification bonus at all. But here you can see that it's possible. And for the last, leveling up significantly increase your unit military strength. In most cases, it's from 5 to 7 points with a level 1, which a lot. Units are getting military experience with each combat, either it's defending or attacking. You can increase the number of experience your unit get with an encampment buildings. These buildings not only increase your unit's military experience gain, but military academy will boost production of corps and armies. Having massive and well-trained army is crucial in achieving conquest victory. All you need to do is just take all capitals of your opponents. In online game, players sometimes might just surrender. The opposite of conquest victory is science victory. Here you must launch expedition to an Alpha Centauri. To do so, you must build a spaceport and launch few space projects, like launch the satellite, launch the moon landing, and a Mars colony. Now the thing's a bit trickier because you have to find smart materials technology to launch exoplanet expedition. Smart materials are one of the future era technologies, and these technologies are hidden and randomized. But I can assure you that smart materials one of the tier 1 technologies, and off-world mission technology is in a tier 3. After you launch exoplanet mission, your ship have to cover 25 light years. To boost it, you must finish Lagrange laser projects. Once your exoplanet mission travels 25 light years, you achieve scientific victory. Tier 3 Royal Society building will definitely help you with that. And maybe synthetic technocracy. Moving on to the religious victory. To achieve that, you have to convert every other nation civ in the game in your founded religion. To convert civ, you must convert 50% plus 1 city. It's not that hard to do while you're playing against AI, but it's almost impossible when you're playing online. Because sooner or later, players will declare war on you and will condemn all your religious units. And while it condemned, your religious pressure is dropping down. Next type of victory you can achieve without fighting is diplomacy. To achieve that type of victory, all you need to do is to accumulate 20 diplomatic victory points. You can earn them by winning a Congress resolutions. The Congress sessions will happen every 20 turns after the first Congress. For vanilla Civ, Congress starts from Industrial Age. For BBG, it starts from Medieval. You can also earn diplomatic points by constructing some wonders, like Mahabodhi Temple, Patala Palace, and Statue of Liberty. With a BBG mod, Alfred Nobel grants you extra 1 Diplo victory point. While playing single player, you can take part in emergencies. Emergencies not available for a multiplayer because they're bugged and you can abuse gold income. And you can also gain 1 Diplo point for tech and civics tree. The last one, and the most difficult to explain, is a cultural victory. To achieve this type of victory, you must attract more visiting tourists to your civilization than the other civilization has domestic tourism at home. As you can see, I must attract more tourists than Vietnam has. Tourists are visiting my country from all over the world. Tourists mostly attracted by theatrical squares and wonders. Domestic tourists generated by culture. Visiting tourists generated by your tourism. So basically, your tourism fighting the best culture on a map. Tourism generated by artworks that can be themed. Total amount of tourism and culture produced by your artworks can be seen here. Artwork tourism can be boosted with a heritage tourism and satellite broadcast policy cards. Some improvements can grant you extra tourism. You can also have some tourism from national parks. All your passive tourism can be boosted once again with environmentalism, civic, and computer tech. You can have plenty for tourism from a different government types. The best government to achieve diplomatic victory is democracy. Maybe now it's a digital democracy, but I'm not sure. If you have the same government type, you don't have any penalties at all. You can have 25% bonus tourism by sending trade route. You can increase this bonus to 50%. But in an online game, you most likely will get a war, so you won't be able to send a trade route. You can earn active tourism with a rock bands. You can purchase them with face, but each next rock band will increase the price. They have various promotions that can help them to achieve more tourism. Rock band must travel abroad and play a concert on your opponent's territory. And if concert was not successful, your rock band will be disbanded. Music censorship can of course prevent you from visiting other civilizations, but in most cases you will just get war and military units will force your rock bands step aside. In vanilla game, it's almost impossible to win without using croakers. In a BBG mod, it's possible, but you must have at least about 2k of tourism. One way or another, there will always be some players who will try to stop you. I guess that's it, boys. I hope I haven't forgot anything, and even if I did, that is not important. I believe this video was quite useful for you, so don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. All these actions will help the video and channel to grow. You can also check district discount video, where you can find how to play at different district discount build orders. And to see on practice how to play religious or commercial civ, you can check my guides how to play Khmer or how to play Rome. If you are still watching, I'm grateful for your attention and support. Have a nice day.